Readings. We are doing 5.37 and 5.38 today. Our objective is to multiply fractions using the distributive property. So I'm going to uncover something and I want you to write it out on your paper. 5 times 8 and 1/5 equals parenthesis blank times 8 parenthesis plus parenthesis blank times 1/5 parenthesis. Pause while you do this. What we're looking at here is when you're multiplying 5 times this, you're multiplying it 5 times the whole piece. I couldn't just do 5 times 8 and be done because I still have that 1/5. It's like saying I have 8 and 1/5, not once, but 5 times. So I'm going to quickly write that out for you so you can see it. 8 and 1/5. 8 and 1/5. Why don't you pause and go ahead and do the same thing that I'm doing, but you want to make sure it's 5 times. So you can see here that I've written it out 5 times. If I counted each of those up, it'd be 8. Let's do our wholes first. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So my whole is 40 because I added up all of those 8s. See how I just checked them all off? Then I do 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. And we know from past lessons that we wouldn't leave it like that because 5/5 is really equivalent to 1. So my answer would be 41. That's if I were to spread it all out. Well, when I spread it this way, it's kind of like doing the distributive property. So we're going to use this format instead of this one, because this one takes a long time. If you need this one, use it. So if I know I need to do 5 times 8 and 1/5, well, I did 5 times 8 first, didn't I? I had 5 8s. So I bring my 5 times 8 first. But I also had 5 copies of 1/5. So I do 5 times 1/5. And we know 5 times 8 is 40. And we know 5 times 1/5 is 5/5, or equivalent to 1. And then I just bring that plus sign up. 40 plus 1 equals 41. All right. Here's a new problem, 4 times 9 3/4. I would like you to lay it out like we did this distributive way. I'm going to break this video up in 2 sections. I'll show you how to lay this out after you try, and then I'll show you how to solve it. So go ahead and pause while you try to lay it out like we did up here. Remember, we had times 8 and times 1/5 first, with that blank space being what we were multiplying by. Good luck. This is what you should have gotten if you laid it out distributive way. I just took my 9 3/4 and I put 9 in the one set of parentheses and 3/4 in the other, because I'm multiplying both of them a times 4. If you don't have this, pause so you can get it. All right, if you do have it, then we're going to move on. So what am I multiplying 9 times? Well, I'm multiplying it times 4. 4 times 9. What am I multiplying 3/4 times? Well, I'm multiplying it times 4. The 4 isn't just times the whole number. It's not like adding. When you multiply, you're multiplying the whole piece. 4 times 9 is 36. Plus 4 times 3/4. Well, it means I have 4 groups of 3/4. If you need to write them all, 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4 plus 3/4, go ahead. It's just repeated addition. I know 4 times 3/4 is 12/4. And I know 12/4 equals 3. So I'm really adding 36 plus 3, and I'm getting 39. All right, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to look at a word problem. Robin rides for 3.5 miles round trip to get to and from school. So round trip, it means it takes her 3.5 miles to and from school. How many miles would she travel in 5 days? We're going to use the RADW process. So go ahead and draw out that tape model or draw out these boxes or whatever you need to do in order to solve this problem. Don't forget your answer statement and draw something to solve it out. Pause while you do this. Here's my answer statement. I wanted to know how many miles she would travel in 5 days. She rides blank in 5 days. So I've written it out a couple of ways. First off, I did the distributive property like we've been doing. 5 days, 3.5 miles. 5 times 3, check. 5 times a half, check. Or I wrote it out 3.5, 3.5, 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or I did a tape model. I've got 3.5 over 5 days. Any of those ways would work. So go ahead and solve it if you haven't already. Go ahead and press pause. And if you have solved it, here we go. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times a half is 5 halves, which we know is 2 halves, 2 halves, and 1 half, which is 1 plus 1 plus a half. So if I add all of that up, 15, 16, 17 and a half. 17.5 miles in 5 days. If I added this up, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17 and a half. See how I connected that as 1, 1, and then I just had a half? Or if I added these up, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17 and a half. They all add up to the same thing. Go ahead and find a partner and work on lesson 38 problem set.